Hello everyone, Gaku here. It's currently Saturday, and I found out earlier today that the Saturday campaign, Slazer's ranked campaign, was postponed / canceled for the day. So I decided to pack up and bring my dog Munchkin out to the Ocklawakanee River. It's a place I haven't been able to bring her very often lately, so that'll be a nice change of pace. We're going to follow Munchkin around for a little bit, and I'll go over the current update that I wanted to talk about. See if she gets in the water. She usually tries to stay away from it, but as you can see, the water level is very, very low. Well, I guess you're not aware of what it normally looks like, but you can kind of see the water line there, so it's probably 3 or 4 feet below what I would call normal. This is about as low as I've ever seen it in this area. Anyway, Friday campaign, the new zombie mod campaign, started yesterday, and I'd say it's been a lot of fun so far. Obviously I'm playing 2 Sicilies, and as far as Italy goes, I'm doing quite well. Zombies are dying down, lag is dying down, and I've got about 4 hours worth of footage I need to edit, and I'm going to try and get that edited tonight and start uploading that tomorrow. Saturday game, Slazer's rank game, obviously has been postponed, so no videos from that campaign this week. And not sure if I'm going to be able to play next week because I'm not going to be at home. So I'm going to be visiting family, and I'm not going to have my main computer with me, my desktop, so I'm not sure what I'm going to be able to do with that. I'll see if I can get on my laptop. I'll probably be playing, but I can't make any guarantees as to whether I can record or stream anything, so there just might not be any video, but we'll see what happens. Along those lines, Friday campaign next week is going to be postponed, so I won't be able to host. The week after, it's also going to be well, it's going to be like 3 weeks until the Friday campaign starts back up. I didn't realize this until today, but Friday of next week, I'm not going to be able to host, obviously. Munchin's going nuts. I'm not going to be able to host, so Friday of next week, no campaign, no Friday campaign. Friday the following week, I'm actually going to be helping a guy with his wedding. So I'm in the wedding party, and we're going to be working on that. So there won't be a Friday session in 2 weeks, and then the week after that they'll probably pick up. So it's going to be a little while until I get any more zombie mod videos out. Sorry for the inconvenience. Along those same lines, Saturday the following week I won't be able to make it, just because, same reason, I'm going to be at the guy's wedding, so nothing I can do about that. So probably 2 weeks of both Friday and Saturday campaigns I won't be able to record and or take part in. So just being a little bit adventurous there, but this is a lot of stimulation for her, because normally, I keep her on a leash. I have to be careful with Munchkin because her favorite place to walk is right in the middle of the road. She likes to chase anything that moves, bicycles, motorcycles, mopeds. There's a lot of student traffic around where I live, and a lot of cars, just a lot of stuff going on, things that can potentially kill her, so I have to be very careful with her. So it's nice just bringing her out here. Anyway, Sunday campaign finishes this week. Tomorrow I'm going to be driving halfway across the country, so I'm not going to be able to take part. And I'm probably not going to be taking part in any more of the Sunday campaigns. We can talk about that in just a minute. Some other things I wanted to mention. Here in about 2 months, I'm probably going to have to move, and after I move, I'm not yet sure where I'm moving, but after I move, I can't guarantee I'm going to have the same sort of internet access. I can't really make any guarantees, so I have no idea what's going to happen with the Victoria 2 multiplayer. I'll take part if I can, but that whole thing might be going out the window. But if that happens, that means I'll have a whole lot more time for single player stuff, so probably get some more EU4. Munchkin's off in the distance now exploring. That's fine. She'll come back sooner or later. I might just go walk out in the river here in a bit. It's very, very shallow. For about 2 miles upriver, it's a very shallow suck water. Personally, I call it the doldrums. Not a fun place to be, in my opinion. Not a lot to see. It's just steep river banks and nowhere to stop, and slow going, very slow going. Even slower than through this area, I would say. This is only about 1/10 of a mile from the river landing, so it's a nice little secluded area. There were a few fishermen there when we launched. Hey, Munchkin. There were a few fishermen there when we launched, so you know, there are some people around, but they're about 1/10 of a mile from here, so not a big deal. We also didn't have boats. Really can't put a motorboat in the river right now, it's way too shallow. Alright, so what else was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so let's talk about DSCH's game. Oh, she's digging. She loves to dig. In sand specifically, so I'm just gonna let her dig around. Yeah, so DSCH's game has a couple of what I consider to be flaws. Some people like it, I personally don't, and for that reason I don't want to take part. You may not be aware, but DSCH's game that I've been taking part in for about 5 weeks started many months ago. And if you look back in my recorded videos, at one time I was subbing as the UK. I believe that was session 1 of that campaign. Maybe session 2. That was session 1 or 2. And then the other session where I subbed as Han China, that was the other one of either 1 or 2. And what you notice is there were like 30 players at the time. Tons of players. More than I've ever seen in a Victoria 2 campaign. So that was really cool at the time. Unfortunately, the mod and the rules are not really designed to facilitate keeping large amounts of players around. Over time, most of them ended up dropping for various reasons. Many of them annexed, some bored, others really saw no point in playing for various reasons. And I attribute that to the rule set and to the mod itself. Oh, here comes Munchkin. Oh boy. Hey. Oh, she's excited. Hey. So much sand to run around in. I'm going to record this section again because I'm not quite satisfied with the way I felt it was going here just a moment ago. So talking about DSCH's campaign and why I'm not a fan of the rule set and the way things are going there. So most campaigns is a sort of metered approach to expansion. And you can see Slazer's game where it took me, I don't know, 40 years to completely annex Mexico. I would say that's a good thing, because in campaigns where you can go over infamy and no one cares, why even bother having infamy? Now, jingoism is a good way to counter that. Actual negative consequences to infamy are a good way to combat that. For example, in PDM, you get war exhaustion for infamy, which means that if you were to go, say, 150 points over infamy, you would constantly have 100 war exhaustion. I would say that's a pretty good system. If you don't have these sorts of metering factors, then what you have is a completely different system where, on one hand, you can think of it as a system where maybe you don't even need infamy. Oh, Munchin's getting a little bit brave. That's what she decides to do. So at the other end of the spectrum, you have maybe a campaign where there's no infamy at all. And that's algae. I'm sure that's yummy. So you might have a system where there's no infamy at all. And in a system where there's no infamy, your optimum strategy is just be at war constantly, get as much power as quickly as possible, and then use that power to go after your enemies, and especially other powerful players. So basically kick the weak while they're down, and use that additional power to strengthen yourself versus others, and then kick them while they're down too. Somewhere in between is DSCH's mod, and DSCH's mod unfortunately has no real consequence to having infamy. If you have infamy, you get a little bit of consciousness, it's negligible. Going way over infamy doesn't really give you any malices, and we can see that going 170 points over infamy is practically meaningless. Doesn't really matter what stage of the game it is, it's just meaningless. So what does this do? Well, DSCH wants to have 30 plus players, but the rule set and the mod is best designed and ideal for situations of about 12 to 16 players. Because in a situation where infamy is meaningless, your optimum strategy is to kill everyone weaker than you. This means that all those 12 other players that you're trying to get to fill all the minor nations, they're just going to be gone. We saw that in this campaign. Now, I don't know if you recall, but prior to my taking over Russia I did sub in this campaign a long time ago. I subbed one session as Han China, and I subbed one session as UK. And one of those sessions was the very first one in the campaign. I don't remember which one, but you can go check it out. So at the time there were a ton of players. Players on all kinds of minor nations that today no longer have players or don't exist. And the reason for that is there's no real negative consequence to conquering all these minor nations. So I would say, why then even bother having them in the first place? Sorry, my battery's being kind of wonky. Anyway, DSCH's system is somewhere halfway in between infamy not mattering at all and infamy being a major metering concern. On the one hand, infamy hardly goes down at all on DSCH's mod, which means that if you have infamy, you're going to keep it for a very long time. On the other hand, there's no negative consequence to infamy aside from people being able to contain you. And there seems to be a sort of gentleman's agreement that no one's going to contain anyone else, at least for the most part. So basically, everyone goes over infamy, or is encouraged to go over infamy in order to get more powerful, with the understanding that if they're over infamy, they're going to be safe from containment. Once that happens, players are at risk, but there's a sort of prisoner's dilemma that takes place. So anyone can screw over any other nation and declare war on them for containment. And if they happen to lose, then the other nation can become more powerful at the expense of additional infamy. But if no one's going to declare war on anyone else for containment, then this just encourages everyone to go on massive kill sprees and try and wipe out as many other players as they can in order to become more powerful, and then make infamy matter even less. So I'm not a fan of that kind of system. Personally, in my playstyle, I very rarely do anything that's going to cause someone to rage quit. Now, one major exception to that you may recall is that I annexed Lembley in this campaign. And why did I do that? Well, I saw very obviously the course this campaign was going to take, so I used a little bit of infamy to fuck over another player, something that I probably wouldn't do if it were some other campaign. But, it ended up biting me in the ass in the end. It doesn't change the fact that I did that because that was the optimum thing to do at the time. The optimum thing to do in this DSCH mod is to fuck over as many players as quickly as you can. Use that infamy as a sort of momentum to propel yourself to the top, and then, damn the consequences. So, not my style of campaign. Some people are into that sort of thing. Basically those who are more interested in sort of min-maxing rather than diplomacy, or I wouldn't consider myself a role player, but in this aspect I do think that some amount of being reasonable, maybe reasonableness, is worthwhile. So I would say those who favor reasonableness would not like this sort of campaign, but unfortunately that's the one we have right now that has the most players, for better or for worse. So good luck to them going forward, but that's why I'm not going to take part. Just because I have no interest in a system where I'm encouraged to fuck over as many players as possible with no real repercussions. So I'm going to go walk around for a bit, follow Munchkin, do some exploring, maybe go sit in the river for a little bit, read a book or something. So we're going to be out here for a couple of hours, and I'll get back and start recording, editing some videos, including this one. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy all the various videos that I've been uploading, especially the Paradox shorts. I got about a week and a half worth of those that are queued up and ready to go right now. Most of those are from last week. Probably get a few more from the session yesterday. Anyway, that's a lot of fun to do for me. Really enjoying that series. And thanks for supporting the channel. Thanks for watching. If you have any comments, feel free to leave them. And have a good one.